December 16th, 2024 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners meeting. If everyone will please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if everyone will remain standing, and we're going to have our Cabarrus County chaplain come up and give our invitation, Tom Reddish.
Let us pray. Father, we come before you tonight. We're thankful that we live in a country where we're free. Thankful that we live in the United States of America. Thankful that we live in the great state of North Carolina and that we're blessed to serve in Cabarrus County. Father, I thank you for each of these commissioners, Father, that has answered the call to minister both to the residents and the guests of Cabarrus County. Father, I pray for them tonight. We lift them up to you. We ask, Father, that you would give them knowledge. Father, that you would give them discernment, discretion, give them understanding, and then wisdom how to apply what you've given them. Father, we know, according to the scriptures in Revelation chapter 4 and verse 11, that all things are created for your pleasure. Our prayer tonight is that when this meeting is done, that you'll be pleased with everything that's said and everything that's done. Lord, we thank you for each employee of the county. I'm thankful for our sheriff's office, for Squad 410, the fire squad, our EMS group, each one, Father, that makes this county what it is. We thank you for them. Please, Father, put a hedge about us. Pray that you'd bless in this Christmas season, and we'll give you all the glory. In the precious name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Amen. All right. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from, let's see here. These will be our meeting minutes from October 7th, October 16th, and the 21st. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda will be the approval of our agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Make the motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Next, we'll move into recognitions and presentations. First on under recognitions and presentations will be the Eagle Scout project, and I believe Byron Hagler from the Parks Department will give us some information on that.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to take this time to recognize this young man. From the first time that he actually reached out through the service project, and again this evening, this young man has surprised me. So he has come to us, given us a solid service project, completed that service project, and even when we had him at our Active Living and Parks Commission meeting, he was giving a presentation of what he would like to do, and we threw him a curveball because we don't take Eagle Scout service projects lightly. We hold them to a very high regard, and he answered every question immediately without hesitation in front of a group that probably pretty intimidating, as this would be this evening. I come here to recognize this young man, talk about his project, and back here in the back, he shows me his speech that he intends to give to you all. So again, I am honored to see the leader that this young man has proven to be, and with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Benjamin.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners, Parks and Recreation leaders, and members of my community. My name is Benjamin Reinecker. I'm a member of Scout Troop 888, and I am currently a sophomore at Hickory Ridge High School. I am an active student, being part of the varsity cross country, track, and indoor track team, a member of DECA, and a part of the Concord Youth Council. While being a part of all these school activities, I am pleased to share that I have succeeded in completing my Eagle project in my scouting journey. I am proud to be here tonight to share my experience with you. This journey has not only allowed me to contribute to our community, but has also taught me invaluable lessons about leadership, perseverance, and the power of collaboration. This project began with a simple idea. I wanted to create something that would benefit our community in a meaningful way. As a runner, I use the Irish Buffalo Creek Greenway a lot. I noticed a need for water along the trail because the only place for water was at the bathrooms in the park. This is when I decided I wanted to build a water station. Inspired by the ones in Franklin Park, where I also happened to run, I had a little trouble at first coordinating where it would go, but myself and Jacob Wensick decided on a spot in the park in the back corner. Mr. Wensick then received a new job opportunity, and I started coordinating with Mr. Byron Hagler. He was extremely helpful and worked with me to set up a time to present my project to the Active Parks and Living Commission. When the day of the presentation arrived, I'll admit, I was a little nervous. However, once I began explaining my idea, I saw how receptive the commission members were. Their positive feedback and encouragement reassured me that this project could truly make a difference. They gave me permission to move forward, and along with that approval, I started making plans to bring my vision to life. The next step was fundraising. As soon as I received the approval for my project from the Eagle Board of Review, I got to work. I mowed lawns and cleaned trash cans for my neighbors, which not only helped me raise funds, but also reminded me how supportive a community can be. In total, I raised $110 through these efforts, from donations and through my works. I also received another estimated $200 from working. With these funds in hand, my father and I visited Lowe's to purchase the materials we needed. I explained my project to the store manager, who generously offered a discount on the supplies since it was an Eagle Scout project. This gesture made a significant difference, allowing me to stretch my budget and acquire everything required to make this project possible. The following weekend, my father and I headed to the park to begin the installation progress. Thanks to the park staff, who pre-dug the hole for the post, we were able to plant it in concrete more quickly than expected. Their assistance saved us a great deal of time and effort, and I'm grateful for their support. After installing the post, I organized a workday with members of my troop. It was a rewarding experience to see everyone come together, bringing their energy and teamwork to the project. We worked together, cutting, sanding, painting, and making sure everything was right. Although we made a significant progress that day, the roof of the project turned out to be the most challenging part of the design. Creating a roof that was both functional and durable required multiple adjustments. It took patience and creative problem solving to get through it. After many hours of effort and a lot of teamwork, we finally completed the roof. To finish things off, we touched up the paint and ensured everything was ready for the final installation. When the day arrived to bring the project to the park, I felt a sense of great pride and accomplishment. We installed the structure onto the post, attaching the cup dispenser, lock, and latch. Seeing the completed project in place, it was a rewarding moment, and I couldn't wait for members of the community to use and enjoy it. Since completing the project, I've been monitoring it regularly to ensure its durability. I'm happy to report that it has held up successfully against harsh weather conditions, including snow, heavy rain, and strong winds. This reassures me that this project was built to last and will serve our community for years to come. Reflecting on this journey, I feel incredibly grateful for the opportunity to take on a project of this magnitude. It has been a joy to work on something that benefits our parks and the people who use them. It has also been a personal learning experience, from navigating the logistics of fundraising to leading a team of overcoming unexpected challenges. This project has taught me skills that I will carry throughout the rest of my life. I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who helped me along the way. First, thank you to the Active Parks and Living Commission for believing in my project and giving me the opportunity to make it a reality. Thank you to the manager at Lowe's for your generosity in supporting my efforts. To the park staff who assisted in the post-installation, thank you for all your hard work. To my troop members, thank you for your enthusiasm and dedication to helping me complete this project. And finally, to my family, friends, and neighbors, your support during the fundraising process and throughout the process, the project made a difference. I hope this project brings joy and utility to the community and enhances the experience of everyone who visits the Irish Buffalo Creek Greenway and Vietnam Veterans Park. It has been an honor to give back to my community that has given so much to me. Thank you for allowing me to share my story tonight. I thank you all for your time and support. Thank you.
Benjamin, on behalf of the Active Living Parks Department in Cabarrus County, for your service, we would like to give you this plaque and the Scout handshakes there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Benjamin. Thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is a proclamation honoring Reverend Dr. Luther King Jr. Day, and we're going to have the clerk read this into the record.
Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, and devoted his life to fighting poverty, injustice, and racism in America. And whereas Reverend Dr. King, through his practice of nonviolence protest, promoted the importance of love, peace, and freedom for humankind and challenged America to honor its promise of liberty and justice for all citizens. And whereas, during his lifetime, Reverend Dr. King sought to forge the common ground on which individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds could join together to address important community issues and provide service to their community. And whereas, the third Monday in January has been established as a national holiday to observe the anniversary of Reverend Dr. King's birth, and commemorate as a national day of service. And now therefore, the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims Monday, January 20th, 2025 as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Cabarrus County, and encourages all citizens to join in the special programs and ceremonies to be held throughout the county, honoring the life and work of Reverend Dr. King and his legacy of peace and equality for all citizens.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the proclamation.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Next on our agenda is a retirement recognition, and if we could have Christine Barrier and Tracy LeCompte please come to the front. There you go. And Tracy, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thank you all for coming in and enjoying this moment with Ms. Christine. We celebrated her retirement last Monday. Her active service date, our active retirement date, will be January 1st, 2025. And we talked at length on Friday about the service that Christine did. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we shared is that Christine started her illustrious career here in Cabarrus County and has served for 50 years here in Cabarrus County, the citizens here in Cabarrus County since 1969, taking a few years off in between there to come back and serve with Cooperative Extension. So officially, we would like to thank Christine for her years of service to Cabarrus County. Starting with the health department, and we talked about that today, that she began in the health department, worked her way through, and then of course the transition of the health department into the Cabarrus Health Alliance that it is today. Worked first a little bit in Veterans Affairs, and then worked part-time with Veterans Affairs and Cooperative Extension, and then came over to Cooperative Extension in 1980. So we're very excited to honor her for her years of service to Cabarrus County tonight.
Commissioners, this is very humbling and very much appreciated. Thank you all.
Thank you. We have another retirement, Pam Uten, and Tracy will be handling this one as well.
So there's nothing in the water, it just happens. Happens to be that these two wonderful women started their careers very similarly at the same times. Pam actually started with Cooperative Extension in 1971. Three. See, I've got my numbers all messed up. Oh yes, no, 3, because this is officially her 51-and-a-half-year mark for her service here in Cabarrus County. She did serve in a couple other counties before getting to here, so we tonight are thanking Ms. Pam Uden for her 45 years of service here in Cabarrus County Cooperative Extension.
As I pointed out the other day at Cooperative Extension Office, this lady's like family to my family. She was so good to our 3 kids when they were in 4-H and helped them so much, and has meant a lot to us. And I'm honored to be able to present this to you, and God bless you for a long time to enjoy your retirement.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure and honor to work with Cabarrus County. I appreciate the county support and the county financial support, and the next FCS agent is going to be very lucky to work in Cabarrus County. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And if I know Pam, she's not going to take it all sitting down.
All right. Before we move on, we have a member of the Cabarrus County Youth Council joining us, and I will ask him to please introduce himself and tell a little bit about himself.
Thank you, Chief Commissioner Morris. Hi everyone. My name is Niyar Kumetha. I'm currently a senior at the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics in Durham, North Carolina. I previously attended Cox Mill High School here in Concord, and I still live in Concord. And I'm the president of the Cabarrus County Youth Commission, representing the around 35,000 youth here in the county. And it's just an honor and a privilege to be representing them here today and sitting amongst you all. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda will be informal public comments. And this evening, our clerk will read the names. So as she reads your name, if you'll approach the microphone, and you have 3 minutes.
Jeff Phillips.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here tonight to speak on a subject I feel that is very important to me. I feel it's time to add 2 additional commissioners for the county by the next election cycle. As you probably know, Cabarrus County is the most populated county in the state, which still only has 5 county commissioners. Our neighboring counties, Union, Stanley, Rowan, Iredell, and Mecklenburg, have 7 or more commissioners. For the past 5 years, I've been watching the commissioner meetings on television. Usually at the end of the meeting, the chairman asks the commissioners for comments about the departments they are liaisons for, and for the most part, all I hear is crickets. I pause for 3 seconds for a reason, because that's what I do here on the TV. Nobody talks about them. For example, not once have I heard anybody who's the TAC or the MPO liaison. I don't even know who that person is, or even if they attend these quarterly meetings with the NCDOT. I just don't know. After seeing the last meeting on TV and hearing the discussions on who's going to be the liaisons to all the departments and municipalities within the county, I felt it's time for me to speak up on this issue. The county staff and its departments need your support. The residents and all businesses, small and large, need to see commissioner support. Five county commissioners can't do it anymore. You just can't. Some of you have full-time jobs. You have families. You can't be everywhere. Page 2. There are pros and cons to add 2 additional commissioners, with the only con I see as being 2 additional part-time salaries to the budget, and which I feel is peanuts compared to the millions being spent on other things. In conclusion, I could talk about this topic for another hour or 2. Please talk to the county manager, Mike Downs, county attorney, Rich Cook, and our new county representatives to Raleigh about this potential change. It is time to ask for help. Good leadership asks for help, and I feel it's needed right now. I hope you have the courage to make this a major correction for the better to the county, in which I truly care about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jeter Anderson.
Good evening, Jeter Anderson. I'm here to talk about a severe, problem here in Cabarrus, and that's with DSS. And right now, my sister Erica Anderson, we wouldn't even know if there wasn't a problem with Cabarrus DSS unless my sister was a federal helpless child. Somehow she goes in with a cane and a breathing machine and DSS and comes out and has to go without it, has to be a lawyer herself. And anyway, if you're not worried about illegal paperwork being done in your DSS, I've been complaining about Jessica Bridges. And I know some of y'all won't stand for this, but Jada Sue Anderson was taken from us, and she didn't need to be taken. She didn't need to be taken from this Cabarrus DSS. You know, unless you're concerned about this illegal paperwork, man, you hired this DSS worker back. I'm asking a question here. Is it cash for kids that's going on? Because this child was taken away and didn't need to be taken away, and we ask you for questions and you can't answer nothing. And I ask you, how does an individual go in DSS needing a breathing machine and a cane and they have to come out without it? And because you did that to my sister, or you allowed them to do that to my sister, she's dead. She's no longer here, and I won't get to see her no more, and I don't get to know where our child is. And I don't know why you can't answer me where our child is, or why she was taken, or what we did to need her to have removed. But y'all got a good thing going here in Cabarrus. And that's where they take your child away off of accusation. Oh, you did something to your child. They're going to take your child away, and good luck getting them back. Maybe a lawyer can beat this lawyer, or maybe they won't. But we got leaders here like Miss Pugh. And Miss Pugh won't answer phone calls. She won't answer nothing. I ask her about new situations. Why can't y'all not give me information? But I can get information from a social worker. I can get the intake report. And I ask her about it, and she just sits there in silence. What kind of leadership is that? That's no kind of leadership I ever seen. There's no kind of leadership up here. I'm serious, y'all. And our kids are at stake. How can they take our kids without somebody going to jail? That's a racket here. What kind of ring is it? What kind of child-taking ring is this? We got Christy Wilhelm that does Jay White with Jay White. It's conflict of interest. You're not going to get your kids back. Once they take them away, it's done. Good luck with it. Because we never seen ours again. We don't know why she was even taken. I got the video. I got the proof. And Mike Downs locks the door. He just locks the door and does this veteran wrong. This veteran has plenty of questions, but screw this veteran, right? Screw them all. Because that's what you're doing when you do one like that. You've done them all.
Jerry Anderson.
Jerry Anderson. A lot of things have changed since I started coming up here about 3 years ago. And Lynn Shue used to come shake my hand. We're old veteran buddies, Vietnam era buddies. Used to come shake my hand. Used to give me some advice. I say, what am I supposed to do, Lynn Shue? He said, keep coming, I guess. And then I find out in a meeting, he's trying to gag my story, trying to gag me. And he's never shook my hands again. You know, I don't feel that way about you, Lynn Shue. I'll still shake your hands. I miss them times you come out here and shook my hands. But I don't hold nothing against you. Mike Downs, things have changed. You wanted to help me. You called me in there in the meeting, asked what my concerns was, did an investigation. I come back, you had no answers. You close the door, and it's been silence. Social media is out there, and there's a lot of people wanting the answers I want, and they know about this. I had 6,000 followers on ND, Next Door Neighbors. And what I read in YouTube and all these things, Cabarrus is, when you press in Cabarrus County, you get all kind of things. You want this recognition? And they're saying things. They're saying, we're having the same problems. Such and such social worker over there was awful to our people, you know? We got problems here. Nobody they should hear my story. Mr. Pittman, you got God with you, and you say God might bring you up here. I got God with me. This is where he brought me. And Laura, I'm not equipped to be a speaker, but the Lord equips me to be a speaker. And I believe in justice. And I'm not going nowhere till I get justice, Mike Downs. Anybody can take a child with a federal helpless problem and try to get help for them, and she died. And my granddaughter that went to school all year and was there Friday, and then they come on Saturday and take her out of my house where they said it was okay for her to be, and take her out and never to be seen again. And y'all believe everything's perfect? No, it's not perfect. I wouldn't be here 3 years if I know justice. I know right from wrong. I'm 70 years old, just like you. Come up with values. I'm telling the truth.
Risa Treadway.
Good evening, Kristen Meismer, Commissioners, Manager Downs. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening, and thank you for your collective service to our county and community. I come before you to briefly speak about a matter that transcends taxation or services or any other typical matters that come before the board for deliberation. I'm here to speak about a logistical decision that you discussed last week. As you will recall, you looked to alter the long-standing meeting of the work sessions. This was done to accommodate one member's work schedule. I was taken aback that a newly sworn-in commissioner would begin her term by asking fellow commissioners and staff members to alter the start time for the meetings. It seems this would be like applying for a job and then dictating the work schedule after being hired. And then accommodate a job schedule over a health-related matter just seemed a misplacement of priorities, especially when you consider that job in question is the field of health care. The schedule for work sessions have been consistent for many years. To modify that timeline may have some merit, and I'm sure it was unintentional. However, it seemed that the work schedule of a new member was ranked a higher priority than the health of a veteran member with decades of service to our county. I ask that you reconsider this matter so the final decision reflects the Board of Commissioners' core values. Thank you.
Marcia Morris.
Good evening. My name is Marcia Morris. My mailing address is Concord, but I live in Georgeville. I'm currently the president of the Friends of the Mount Pleasant Library, and I'm here to comment on the possible lease of the former library building. The Friends are appreciative that y'all would be interested to know our opinion on what will happen to that building, and so I've come not to speak for the citizens of Mount Pleasant or even the entire Friends of the Library organization, but on behalf of Friends leadership past and present. The existence of a library in Mount Pleasant is a powerful symbol of tenacity, community, and the get-her-done spirit found in rural eastern Cabarrus County. Just to provide a little history, for a long time, the people of Mount Pleasant wanted a library, and in 1994, the Friends of the Mount Pleasant Library was created and incorporated for that purpose. They secured a land donation, support from the Cannon Foundation, and then raised the necessary funds from private donations within the Mount Pleasant community. Upon completion, the Friends gave the building to Cabarrus County to operate as Mount Pleasant Library. I tell you this as a reminder that that building was built with community donations, and so to many of us, it is important that that building continue to provide value to our community. For me and many others, the former library building represents the strength of community and the need to provide services to that community. So my opinion, which is supported by the Friends of the Library Board and from other members past and present, is that leasing the former library building to Cabarrus Health Alliance will be a fitting way for that building to continue to provide value and service to our community. Thank you.
Ingrid Nurse.
Ingrid Nurse, born and raised in Cabarrus County. Our county budget is in a steep deficit. But since commissioners are making room in the deficit to accommodate private campaign promises like paying off individual property leases, concern from law-abiding taxpaying citizens, can room be made for community advancement projects, such as helping the homeless crisis and tent communities in our county? Since this was a private agreement on the campaign trail, shouldn't the payment come from the private expenses? Instead of taxpayers unknowingly voted commissioners to pay off somebody else's property leases. Back-end deals that are fronted by taxpayer money. Again, inquiry minds want to know. Ingrid Nurse, for the people, by the people, because I am the people. Law-abiding taxpaying citizens want to know. Keep Cabarrus County sane.
Grace Galloway.
Good evening. Good evening. The last time I was here in front of you, many of you weren't here, was when we were petitioning to get the Cabarrus Park renamed to Vietnam Veterans Park, which you all agreed to do unanimously, and I appreciate you and thank you. Speaking as a person who served 3.5 years in Vietnam, taking care of war orphans, children of rape victims and rape victims, I come before you today to talk very, very seriously about a crisis that is occurring right now in Cabarrus County, in North Carolina, but in Cabarrus County. That is the opioid crisis. It does not seem to me like that this has come to the surface. It hasn't even begun to bubble up to the surface. And that's a shame, because we do have children who are dying from fentanyl. I'm talking about teenagers, people of your age, dying from fentanyl, accidental overdoses. But what are we doing? I know there's the Purdue opioid money, settlement money. What are we doing with it? Nobody had, I keep asking, and no one seems to be able to tell me. Now, I've spent about 50 years of my life working and taking care of people with no insurance, who cannot afford any kind of health insurance. That's what I've been doing. And so now I see firsthand people who are in that particular crisis situation where they have absolutely no other way to go than just simply to get drugs. Because the unemployment situation, they are poor, they are homeless, they are all in desperate situations. Many of them are veterans, and that's the reason why I'm standing before you. The veterans triggered this response of mine, but it's more than the veterans, it's our entire community. I'm going to say to you this also, that aside from the opioid crisis, I went to the library the other day. Do you know how many homeless people hang around the library? Yeah, a lot of people. And nobody woke up one morning and said, oh, gee, I want to be homeless today. That didn't happen. It was absolutely situations that occurred that caused these people to be homeless. We cannot judge them. We have no business judging them. But we do have a business to help them, because if we are truly Christians, that's what we would do. Thank you.
Valeri Levy.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Valeria Levy, and I'm here tonight to strongly oppose the creation of an advisory committee for the Cabarrus County Fair. This proposal, not only unnecessarily but politically motivated, aims to threaten and undermine a tradition of excellence built over 15 years under the leadership of the current fair manager. My concerns go beyond administrative burden that this committee would create. My mother, Joanne Levy, who works hand in hand with the fair manager as part of the fair administration. She, as an older African-American woman, has earned the trust, admiration, and love of the volunteers and fair participants for over 10 years. It's alarming that individuals connected to this proposal have a history of disrespecting women like my mother and the fair manager, women who have spent their lives building and sustaining our community. The same type of disrespect recently happened here in the United States with Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani's treatment of older women in New York, which resulted in payment to them for these lies. This same is echoed in this unnecessary interference with the fair's operations. When Mr. Bose stated the county would have blood on their hands of the fair leadership if the fair leadership wasn't changed. That is an outright threat to safety. Let me be clear, the Cabarrus County Fair is thriving, consistently receives top marks from participants and attendees, with 97% of exhibitors and 94% of 94% of attendees rating their experience as good and excellent. This year alone, fair attendance grew by 5%. And the team adapted creatively to challenges like the avian flu by substituting the milking of live cows with educational simulated milking booth experiences. Creating this advisory board would not enhance the fair, it would harm it. Currently, the fair operates with only 2 staff members, a full-time manager and a part-time assistant. To add an advisory committee would force the county to have to spend taxpayer dollars to hire additional staff to handle reporting and oversight. These costs would squarely fall on the taxpayers to have to add additional staff. The motivation behind this committee appears to stem from Marvin Bose, who has spent years criticizing the fair. His complaints about the safety measures, such as requiring vet records to ensure animal health, are unfounded. The committee risks creating a hostile work environment for employees who've already proven their commitment to excellence. Thank you for your time.
All right, that's all we have for informal public comments. We'll now move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's printed?
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. We'll move to new business. Item G1, the Midland Library lease. And there is a copy of the lease within your packets. I'm sure you have all had time to review that. Is there any questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the lease for Midland.
Okay. Do I have a second? Commissioner Pittman, second. All right. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a few comments in reference to this. As you heard the lady speak a little while ago about how the Mount Pleasant Library came about, how the Friends of the Mount Pleasant Library worked and gathered funds, and they built the building, and they gave the building to the county in return for the county operating the library, providing the books and the staff and all the media and everything to run that. And Concord did the same thing, and Kannapolis did the same thing. And I'm not sure about Harrisburg, how they have done theirs. I know we're participating in that right now. But I would adamantly oppose picking up the tab for the Midland Library. They had plans, and what they referred to, the Midland Town Council referred to as the 2030 plan. The 2030 plan included a new town hall and a library. For environmental reasons that they couldn't overcome, that plan fell through. So they still wanted a library. Well, the county agreed that we would accept a lease. If they leased up some space, then we would staff it and we would operate it. And we did that. But we didn't agree to pick up the tab for the lease, because in return, Midland hasn't given the county anything. And so I just want you to know, Mr. Chairman, that I adamantly oppose this move. And another thing, just to add to this, the new majority of the board has been talking since the campaign, that they were going to reduce taxes and they were going to do all these wonderful things. But this is going to add $42,000 a year to the budget when they're talking about reducing the budget. So, I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm opposed to it, Mr. Chairman. And so if anybody else has anything to say, I'm welcome to hear that.
Thank you. Do we have any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I am very adamantly in favor of treating Midland no differently from other municipalities in this county. And if we're going to do libraries elsewhere, we have just as much obligation to do it for them. And as far as lowering the budget, cutting taxes, we can still do that. There are a lot of worse things that are going on in our budget that need to be cut out, and we'll deal with that later.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the comments. I will follow up with that, Commissioner Shue, and I understand, what you were saying. Historically, the municipalities had raised money and built the buildings themselves. However, recently, this board has built a new library in Mount Pleasant, and currently building a new library in the city of Concord, and all of that was being paid by the taxpayers of the county. It was not private funds raised to build those buildings. So I understand what you're saying, and that's the reason I had asked the Friends of the Library how they felt about the old building being leased to the Cabarrus Health Alliance, because they, as we heard from one of our public speakers, that they were instrumental in raising the money to build that building. So I think to treat Midland fairly, I think this is a good thing for the county to do, to reach out to them, to move forward with this. So, yes, sir. You got something?
Have we been looking for land in Midland to build a library? And if so, how long have we been looking?
On and off, probably 8 years. The initial piece that the town wanted to use does have some environmental issues that make it very expensive to construct on. We've looked at some other pieces that, again, every time they have environmental issues or they are not served by water and sewer, at this time, not on anytime soon time frame. We do not have funding at this point to purchase property. Everything that we've got has been expended or allocated toward the last piece is at a school.
Have there been plans to build a library/active living center in Midland at some point by the county?
Yes, the initial plan was to do something similar to the Mount Pleasant facility, possibly a little smaller, but just because of the rooftop numbers.
So for now, it looks like we're going to pick up a lease and pay that until we can build them something comparable to what we have in Mount Pleasant. And
That's the board's desire.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Motion carries 3-2. Moving on to item 2, Board of Commissioner appointments. Everyone's had an opportunity to review that in their packet.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to accept with the change of Commissioner Pittman being the representative on the fire departments and first responder advisory.
Okay, accept the recommendations of, your motion is to accept the recommendations. Is that the chairman's recommendations with the change?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I have a second?
If I'm able to second that, I will.
You can. All right. Any discussion?
so are we, because we have there's 4 different ones, so are we going with the third one? Is that because there's a 2024, then there's a handwritten one, then there's a 2025, and then there's a blank one. So are we going with the third one that's 2025, Commissioner Meismer's recommended board appointments? Is that the one we're going off of?
Yes, that would be accurate. Lauren, what is the difference between the handwritten and the printed one? Just one's handwritten and the other is just formally printed? Okay.
Yeah, you handed the handwritten one. We wanted to include that just in case there was a typo or
Okay.
we mistranscribed something. So we put both of those in there so you all could have the opportunity to view that. And then we put a blank one in there also just so that you would see the positions that needed to be filled.
Okay, and now let me ask about the boards that are term appointed. If we approve this motion of the chairman's recommendation, will that include the term appointed boards and committees?
Yeah, that is my assumption to that it will only allow that term to go to the end of the one that is currently running.
Right.
So you wouldn't start a new 3-year term, you would finish the last 2 years of the 3-year term that is current.
Right, okay.
If we're going to change the fire service and you're willing to give that up and give that to Commissioner Pittman, can I ask why you didn't give it to me, since I've spent 13 years of my life in the fire service and I'm very versed in that? I'm curious. I mean, if you're willing to give it up and I'm willing to take it, I'm kind of curious why I don't have that opportunity.
Well, we're giving that one up from the original proposal of Commissioner Lindsay to Commissioner Pittman. I believe Commissioner Pittman spent time in public safety as well. And
But I'm asking Commissioner Lindsay why we're picking Commissioner Pittman over me.
He expressed interest, He expressed interest in being on that council, and so I told him that I would be okay with that. He was a volunteer fireman also.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other
Mr. Chair,
discussion?
yeah, I got
Yes.
to comment just for a little bit. And this primarily, I've discussed this with you already, none of the other board members, but for the viewing audience and for you that's here tonight, I'm going to vote against this. I don't want to vote against this particular item for the simple reason I don't oppose to the commissioners having different liaison positions and that type thing, because as one spokesperson tonight, I think Mr. Phillips, you spoke about, there's about 40-some positions that we as commissioners divide amongst ourselves to try to keep everybody informed. But as for myself, I've been on the Water and Sewer Authority for probably about 4 years now. And we worked on plant expansion down at the Rocky River wastewater treatment plant. And I was working with them, with that board, and we completed phase 3 of the expansion project. And while simultaneously we were working on phase 4 of the expansion project, which is now currently underway, which is going to raise our capacity from 30 million gallons a day to 34 million gallons a day to accommodate the growth of Cabarrus County. and I've really enjoyed working on that board. I've been a part of it. I wanted to stay on it. And Chairman, I ask you, if you want to take something away from me, you know, I'm 71 years old now. I got 2 more years on my term. And I don't want to elaborate about the health issues. I don't want to elaborate on that. I thank God every day that I'm still here, that I can still function, and I can still do something to make a difference. But I ask you, if you're going to take something away from me, take the Central Iowa Regional Council of Government away. That's a 35-mile drive west Charlotte. And I'm getting where I don't like to drive at night. So, you know, why didn't you give that to one of the other younger commissioners, you know, that could do the driving at night and not mind a 30, 35-mile drive? But yet you take one that I'd been on and had been enjoying for 4 years and leave me on the other one. So, yeah, but I'm proud, you know, I'm a Baptist, and I tell you, I like to see people that's willing to work, let them work. If they want to do something, let them do it. But if they get where they can't do it, that means you got to get somebody else. But I was functioning well with the Water and Sewer Authority. I wanted to keep it, and you took it away and put yourself in my place, and Commissioner Lindsay as a alternate. We hadn't had an alternate in the past. But anyway, there it is. But I just wanted to make that clear for the viewing audience here and for the public, that when I vote against this, I'm not voting against all the boards. I'm voting against the 2 positions that they put me on that I felt like was not right and needed to be left like it was, except for the Central Iowa region. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shue, and we thank you for your time and service on these boards. It's not taking away anything from anyone. We did a reshuffling. We've had an election, we have new members, and it's time for a change on some of these boards and committees. And so, you know, as I said, it's time for a reshuffle, you know, and it's time to give others an opportunity to be a part of some of these other boards and committees. And as far as the one, I've had a conversation with every one of the board members up here about their concerns, you know, how they felt about this. I've had multiple conversations with you. I've had multiple conversations with Commissioner Wortman and also the other 2 commissioners. So, you know, I've heard your concerns. I've heard you. But as I said, with a new board coming in, there's a time for there to be some change, and that's
well, the only thing, Mr. Chairman, that, you know, that more or less that aggravates me probably more than anything is just like the Midland Library. Both of the library and this are politically motivated. It's absolutely politically motivated.
I'm sorry, order. So, sorry that you feel that it's politically motivated. However, we, you know, like I said, we have a new board. We're going to have some new board appointments, and so that's the way it goes. So we have a motion. Yes.
Can I ask, is there any way we can include in our, the gentleman spoke tonight about our attendance and our reporting. Is there any way we can also attach to our agenda an attendance sheet to make sure that we're all showing up?
We can absolutely do that, and now that you mention that, I'll bring this up. I've had some of these boards and committees contact me and ask for a change. So if we want to go down that route, we have had that. And also there's been some concern about some of the attendance of members, and so that's why there has been a shuffle. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Motion carries 3-2. All right. We'll move down to item 3. Please ask to remain in order. All right, we'll move down to item 3, the creation of the Cabarrus County Fair Advisory Board. We have that information in our packet.
I have several questions on this one, so bear with me because it's quite a few. And I've been asked to ask some of these I'm sure several of us have gotten some phone calls. I've gotten several. So the first one is, what was the application process for determining who the chairman of this fair board would be? And was this position advertised and open to the public?
Okay, what other questions do you have?
And out of 240,000 residents, it seems like this one person was appointed by this board, and are we sure that they are the most qualified? Will the remainder of the positions on the board be open to the public? And what authority does this board have over our current fair staff and over the current? The other questions, and I'm okay, I know it's going to take a while to get back to this, so and I'll give you a copy of them. The other ones were, what is currently wrong with our fair to need this board? We currently have a fair board that has 18 to 20 people on it. And now generally, I know that board generally deals with just scholarships. That's all they deal with. And that they operate separately and it's their own entity. They only meet about once or twice a year, but since we currently have a fair board, why not give them direction on where this board would like to see that go compared to creating a new one? And then as far as the fair goes, I know that they currently have a great relationship with the International Fair Association. There's a record of a lot of awards in agriculture since 2013, and if it's okay with you, I'd like to, the same handout that Kate Sharp shared with you, I'd like to put on the overhead just so the people can see. It's the same one I think you got, so that they can pause it and see the awards that we got, if that's okay.
Sure.
Todd, are you? And I'm not going to spend any time reading that. I just wanted to go up so people have a chance to pause it and look at the different awards we've had the opportunity to receive at an international level. So going back from 2013, and that's all the way up to, I think it goes to 2023, those are all recognition for the agricultural efforts. I know that for years, money from the fair was used to offset losses from the arena, and I've been told that doesn't happen anymore, that their profits go into a rainy day fund so that the fair can pay for itself. About 2 years ago, from my understanding, they had $1 to $2 million in that rainy day fund, and they have been using that at the discretion of Rodney, who used to be here. That's what they were augmenting the ticket prices with for the last 2 years, so there wasn't such a steep increase, and I was told that they can do one more year to augment those before we see that. And I am the cooperative extension liaison in 4-H, and I did ask them at their September meeting, since they deal with the fair, I asked them if they were happy with it, what changes would they like to see, and that was with the entire board there. And their biggest complaints were that they would like to see bigger signage for the agricultural displays. They felt that the signage wasn't adequate so that people knew where the animals were at. They wanted to see a pathing change to where people would have to go through the animals to get to the fair instead of multiple access points just into the amusement park. They said the individual premiums need to be larger. That the premiums paid to the clubs and 4-H clubs need to be raised, so that the process and the system for entries was weird and outdated, and it was too much involved. And they would like to see more publicity on entry dates and premium entries, and they would also like to see more recognition on the county channel. I asked them if they were happy with their involvement with the fair, and the response that I got was that this is as happy as they've been in a long time, because they felt like in the past that they were pulled in 40 different directions, and they were able to focus on education this time, which is where they felt like their biggest impact could be. And then also with this board, I noticed that there's some budget amendments. And it says that, and I know we have not been a member of the State Fair Association, and that's because their dues go to political action committees and lobbyists. And here's Todd, here's another handout, if you can put that one on there. Again, we were emailed these. And it says, the NC Department of Agriculture, who permits and inspects the fair, is not the operator of the NC Association of Agricultural Fairs. The North Carolina Association of Agricultural Fairs is a private entity, and they issued the following due statement on November 14th, 2017, which is not changed. It says, pursuant to the International Revenue Service Publication Section 6033E2, we must reasonably estimate the amount of dues and special assessments allocable to non-deductible lobbying and political expenditures to our members. Our current estimate is that 98.35% of your dues paid to the North Carolina Association of Agricultural Fairs will be allocable to lobbying and political expenditures. Thus, they will be non-deductible to you on your 2016 tax return. And so I have a little concern that we're going to rejoin an association that uses the dues for political action committees and lobbyists. That's why we left it in the first place. So that's what I wanted to say. I know I'll probably be a month or so, but I just wanted to get them out there. And again, I'll make you a copy of these questions so that you have them. But I was asked to ask some of these, so that's where we're at. So, but for that reason, I'll be opposed to the Fair Board. And also, we just found out about this. I saw it on our agenda, so I don't feel like I've had enough time to adequately look at it before I can make that decision tonight.
All right. Do we have any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Of course, I'm new to the board. There's probably a lot of things I don't know. Okay, I admit that. However, since we've discussed this recently, I asked a certain gentleman yesterday at church if he would like to be on the committee. He didn't say much. This morning he called me and told me all kinds of allegations against Mr. Boss. And later his wife told me and gave me the same allegations and added a lot to it. And so as someone who has myself been lied about over and over again ever since about 2011, 2012, I just don't take what somebody says at face value, because I've been lied about, other people have been lied about. So I decided to look into the allegations of embezzlement against Mr. Bost. I talked to the DA. She could find no record of any such thing. She said talk to the sheriff. So I went to the sheriff's office and we discussed it, and he went through and could not find any record of any such charges or trial or anything. So that tells me, maybe not everybody, I don't think the gentleman and his wife that were talking to me this morning were lying necessarily. I think somebody lied to them and they believed it because they didn't personally like Mr. Bost. I don't think that when people make unsubstantiated allegations that lends much to their credibility. So my tendency is, if I found that these things were true about Mr. Bost, I would not support him. Not at all. If my own son sitting out there committed a crime, I'd tell him, I'm sorry, son, but you got to pay the price for what you did. So I'm not going to go with false allegations against an innocent man to make my decision on something. There's some misconceptions about what this committee would be, too. People think they're going to fire the head of the fair. They will not have the authority to fire anybody. This committee would be an advisory committee that would make recommendations. And we're not bound by any of those recommendations. We can take them or not. So my feeling is Mr. Bost has been falsely accused. I don't see any validity to any of that. So I say, let's give the man a chance. And listen, if he don't do right, the commission will take him off of that committee. I say give him a chance and we'll see what happens.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to comment about it, and I'd like to, I know this is sort of off guard for you, County Manager Downs, but you were here when the fair was an association before. Why did we change from an association to county-run fair?
That's a good question.
Now, I guess I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I mean, because I don't see what's wrong with what we're doing. I think Kate does an excellent job, and I think before her was Mary Ann Hamill, and before her was Clyde Probst, and before them, I was before my time. But it's been an excellent county fair, recognized statewide. And, you know, I don't understand the reasoning for wanting to change from that. I'm still sticking with the old story that if it's not broke, why fix it? And so that's why I'm asking you. Something undoubtedly happened that we changed from this way of operating to the county way of operating. And now the new board is wanting to go back. And then again, I think, just me, I'm just one, there's 4 more of me, I think this too is politically motivated from the campaign promises. I'll do this for you, I'll do this for you, on and on. The same thing happened in Raleigh, and you know it did. Larry, you was there for however many years. And, you know, and for me, I'm not that way. I don't believe that way. I got to lay my head down at night and know that I made the best decision that I made.
It was his wife, probably.
What do you think? What do you think it was, Mike?
Well, I know back, you know, how many years, 10 years ago or so, there were several concerns from the community about just the running of the fair, and then that we decided the county decided to pull it in-house and to hire a full-time person, and that has worked very well for the last several years. I think the current staff has done an excellent job. They're professionals. They love what they do. They've got good relationships with the fair, or with the carnival operators as well, and they've done very well. So,
I think that there is a lot of misconceptions about this. This is strictly an advisory committee. They will not have authority over the operations of the fair, and this is, you're going to maintain order. We're going to maintain order in this chamber. So, as I said, this is an advisory committee. It will not have authority over the employees of the county fair. This is meant to enhance the fair experience. This is meant to bring a citizenry committee together at the table to bring suggestions. If there's concerns, bring them to the table to have a discussion about this. This can only enhance the fair experience. This committee is not going to have authority, I said, over any of the employees out there. So.
Well, who will they be bringing these suggestions to?
Well, they'll be working with the staff there, but the staff is not bound to the advisory committee. It will be a collection of ideas. You know, I've heard all kinds of ideas that have been talked about, whether to add fireworks or go back to doing the can drive a certain day to get in, free admission. There's a lot of small things and ideas of that will be brought to the table for that. So I just want to clear up all of those. This committee will not be running the fair as it was in the past.
So in other words, if this advisory committee that you're talking about forming, if they come to the county staff and the fair manager, the extent of their authority is to make a suggestion.
Just as we have a parks board, we have a senior center board, I mean, we have many different advisory boards. This will be the same capacity.
Are these paid staff? The advisory, are they paid?
None of our advisory boards are paid.
First of all, I'd like to point out, I don't know if anybody made any campaign promises or not. I didn't do that because I didn't even know about this until after the election was over. Okay, and I wouldn't have done that anyway. Yes, I was in Raleigh for a little over 11 years, and I saw stuff that's politically motivated and not right for the people, and I fought that stuff all the time. This is not one of those things. And I heard somebody out there say something about it was his wife. Well, sheriff looked into that too. There were no allegations, no charges, no nothing about any kind of embezzlement on him or his wife. So that's a lot of hooey. And I think a lot of people maybe don't like him. A lot of people don't like me. Some people hate my guts and lie about me. And some people think better of me than they should. But all this hubbub and accusing a man of something he never did and was never charged with just because you don't like him, well, I don't know if y'all remember the 9th commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And when you do that, your integrity and your trustability come into question with me. Sorry.
I'm going to go ahead and excuse myself.
Okay, that would be a good idea. That would be a good idea.
He said it was recorded. He
Excuse
said
me.
that
Excuse
blood
yourself.
would be on the
Excuse
down-
yourself now.
And that's a threat.
Excuse yourself now.
I know when we talked on the phone before this goes any further, I brought up the questions that I wanted to ask.
Yes.
But I know after talking to Rich that some of that has to be closed session. You can't sit up here and talk about some of that in open session. And it's actually general statute, was it 135-153-98. So before that goes any further, I want to, if we're going to say any more about that, because I'd asked about closed session, and I don't know if we're done with it now or not, but before that goes
We
any
do
further.
have a closed session scheduled for at the end of the meeting. Commissioner Lindsay?
So I was just going to say that we've all been to the fair for years. And this last year, there was hardly any exhibitors that were in the exhibit hall. The only thing that this advisory committee is going to do is to be another voice in the community about what we can do to make the fair better. I don't see anything negative about that. I think that the more opportunity that we have people to engage and offer their opinions regarding what we can do to make the fair better is going to be nothing but a positive thing for this community. So I would like to make a motion to approve a 9-member, I believe it says 7 members on the agenda. However, I do know that Commissioner Meismer did mention having a 9-member advisory committee with Marvin Bost as the chair.
Do I have a second? Second. All right. Any other discussion?
Even though we're going to vote on it tonight, do you think maybe at our next meeting, at the regular or even work session, we'll have the answers to the questions to be able to
We
put
can
out?
work on that.
Okay.
And we also have the authority to add and remove any members to this advisory council at any time. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 3-2. All right, next item on the agenda is the budget amendment related to the creation of the Fair Committee. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll approve that motion, or I'll approve that budget.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Motion carries 3-2. All right, we'll move on next to item 5, the resolution establishing the Board of Commissioners 2025 meeting schedule. And I believe everyone has seen that. We discussed this at the previous meeting 2 weeks ago. There are some changes regarding holidays. Any discussion?
I have some. I'm not opposed to that. I think it was President's Day that we moved.
That's correct.
I'm not opposed to that. I am opposed. I've thought on it. I've talked with Commissioner Hsu. I am opposed to changing the times, and the reason being is and I know you don't want to talk about it, but you're on dialysis every night at 9 o'clock. If we push that work session back to 5, you've had to leave early before, starting at 4, so that you can make it home on time. I'd like to keep it at 4 for that. Again, like I said last month, or 2 weeks ago, I've left work for 2 years now, an hour and a half early. It is what it is. That was the times, and I knew the times when I took the job. I've also asked County Manager Downs as far as how this works with the employees who stay late. Are they paid overtime? And his response was it's comp time. So now they're going to have to take off time that builds up, which is going to leave them shorthanded for the communications employees, things like that. And the other part for me was, we built our vision and our mission around the employees. And now there's going to be quite a few employees that are going to be getting home later to their families. They have wives, they have husbands, they have kids, and by pushing it back, they're going to be getting home later as well. And so, to me, we're inconveniencing a lot of people for one person's work schedule. I don't see a problem with why you just can't be late. We all know you're coming from work. I don't see a problem with that. And as far as the regular session, I stated 2 weeks ago that that's the only one people get to make a public comment at, and not everybody gets off at 5 o'clock. I don't know if we're going to be able to get everybody there by 6. Certainly, it appears that everybody that wants to speak is here early, but at the same time, if there's somebody that can't get off on time, then we're cutting it 30 minutes short. So I would like to see it stay the same for those reasons.
One other change to notice in this is that our January work session will be held in this chamber. We're going to have the swearing in of our incoming North Carolina legislative delegation. They're going to be sworn in at our meeting here on January 6th. So everyone put that on your calendar if you'd like to attend. Do I have any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution establishing the meeting schedule for 2025.
All right. All right. I will say, before you make that motion, I had talked to Commissioner Shue about his concerns, and also Commissioner Wortman as well. And Commissioner Shue had made a comment about potentially moving our meetings. He would be okay with moving our meetings into this chamber, our work session meetings into this chamber. So if you'd be willing to amend your motion to include that.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll amend the motion to approve the 2025 meeting schedule with changing the location of the work session into the Commissioners' chambers.
Okay. Do I have a second on that? That's correct. That will be a lot less work of having to set up tables and chairs for the staff. Do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing. Yes.
I'm going to oppose it because of what we talked about, but I'm absolutely in favor of keeping both of them in here. I think that's a great idea.
Understood. All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right. Motion carries 3-2. All right. We'll move on to reports, and this will be updates from commission board members who serve as liaisons or appointments on other boards. Do I have any of those?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a lot to report. I do expect to be going Midland for their meetings. And so I know some of their concerns, and we'll be discussing those things later. But, just getting started, so we'll see how it goes. But one thing I am committed to is making sure they're treated fairly.
Mr. Chairman, I also want to make a comment on that, and I do appreciate the public comments regarding making sure that we are updating the public on any meetings that we attend and boards that we're part of. And I also just started, so don't really have anything to report at this point, but I do look forward to doing that at the next meetings for 2025.
I will report that I attended the seniors' Christmas party at the Cabarrus Arena, and there was over 500 members in attendance, had received a free lunch, and there was a band, and that was an exciting event. This morning, I attended ribbon cutting for the Behavioral Health Center at Atrium Health. There are so many that I could report over. We attended Christine Barrier's retirement party, and many more. So I'll start keeping a list so we can give a report of those. Reminder for me. Commissioner Wortman, Chu, anything? All right. Next on our agenda will be general board comments. Anybody have a general board comment? All right. So we do have a need for closed session.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just want to make the board aware, I am going in Thursday to my orthopedic surgeon, take a look at my hip. I may have to have a hip replacement. I hope not. I will try my best well, he already knows because he's worked on my shoulders before. He knows whatever he says Thursday, I'm going to say, well, let's make it after deer season. But I'm going to do my best to try to arrange, if I do have surgery, not to miss any of these meetings, but you never know how that's going to go. But I will try not to have to miss a meeting.
All right. Any other comments? All right. We do have a need for closed session this evening for pending litigation. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
All right. All in favor? We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We're in closed session. Thank you.